we're doing speaker setups or any setup, it's really kind of part art and part science. So part of it is literally like measurements, how far apart we're doing something, moving the tweeter closer or further back or up or down. Or that's a scientific process, really. But there's the art side of it where it's more feel.
Let me introduce you to Brian and Ian.
Hello.
Hello.
I got my Alexia Vs that have been on order for a little over 4 months. They have been partners in what we're doing in the library, so we had a very lofty goal of having that be interactive. We have basically 2 systems in the library, and we made a video that we'll put in the description kind of explaining that. So we're here at home, and this system maybe is a little more personal, and I actually use it more because I'm home, right? The library's for events and when people are there. Let's kind of go through the equipment that has got us to where we are. We first met, I had a ProJet that I was really happy with, but the needle broke.
Yeah, instead of getting a new stylus on the project, I think we ended up with the Clear Audio Concept, which is
punches
a great table,
way
but
above its weight.
Yeah, the concept is certainly at a different level.
Then I was running a Moon.
That's right.
Integrated into Fleetwoods, I think.
Into the Fleetwoods, yeah.
Those Fleetwoods were great. They're kind of one-dimensional in a way. So I ended up with Klipschorn speakers, right?
The AK6.
Got rid of the Fleetwoods, went to the Klipschorns. That's what I had in here.
Yeah, and then eventually I think we upgraded to the DCS at that point.
Yeah, so you brought over the DCS and you hooked it up, and instantly I was like, holy cow, it's magical in a way. Then we kind of went through a little bit of trial and error in a sense where I tried some avant-garde speakers against the better judgment, but I liked the look of them. And then that was a nightmare. Those were I don't know. Can't sell them either. Nobody wants to buy them. They're paperweights, honestly.
They're cool speakers, just not the right
Listen,
product.
You're being nice because you're in the industry. I don't have to be nice. They're paperweights. They really are. Like, I don't get it. They're fatiguing. They're very fatiguing. So I did that. In the meantime, we went to a D'Agostino integrated.
Yeah, we swapped the Mac out and we got the D'Agostino Progression Series integrated amplifier.
And even though that sounded really well, I had an issue, and you said I'm the only one in the world that had an issue with the remote, but I went through a couple of remotes. I used to have to get up,
reset it.
Yeah.
Well, that was justification for an upgrade, right?
Yeah, exactly. We decided to try some Wilsons, and there was a pair of Wilsons that you had traded in, and I said I'll take them, and then Ian sells them out from under me. Right? Isn't that what happened?
We got to do what we got to do sometimes.
Yeah. So he calls me, he goes, I'm sorry. When I was gone, somebody sold them, or something. There was some story like that. So then you went to work and you
We made some calls.
Made some calls, and you got a set of, what'd you call them, like certified?
Certified pre-owned. Yeah, that's what they are.
By Wilson, right?
Yep.
So they take them back, they redo them. What speakers were those?
That was the DAWs, the Sasha DAWs.
DAWs.
Yeah.
So we put those here, and then I pretty quickly knew that I wanted these, and I asked you about these, and I said, how much difference? And one thing about Ian that is funny is when you ask him that question, he will never answer it. So if I say, like, is it 20% better? Is it 50% better? He won't. He'll go, well, you just gotta hear it. Like, and this is the only time you've ever said, oh, it's a dramatic difference. And I'm like,
yeah,
50%? You go, at least. As we sit right now, what are we powering it with?
The amplifier's the Dan D'Agostino Momentum S250 stereo amplifier. Solid state, super cool amp. And that's running the Alexia Vs that you have here now in the blue orchid pearl color. It's a very beautiful finish for the room, matches everything perfectly. Cabling, we're using all transparent, mostly XL in the system, which is a little bit more advanced than the stuff we have in the library. Powering the D'Agostino, or what's giving the signal to the D'Agostino, is the VTL 7.5 preamplifier, and that's being fed sources from the Grand Prix audio turntable, which is the Parabolica, same turntable you have in the library. The same cartridge, which is the Hana Umami Red. That's going into the phono stage, also made by VTL. It's their TP 6.5 Series 2, just like the library. And also like the library, you've got the DCS Lina DAC and master clock to run the digital side of things.
I would just say, like, I don't know how I could go up much further from here. Any jumps from here would be incremental, but not seismic.
In some capacity, yes, it would be in perspective of drag coefficient and horsepower of a car. So at a certain point, it'll go up and what you're going to spend in the performance. So what we've put together in our process through all of this is a fundamentally beautiful system in terms of performance, dollars spent. But at the end of the day, we know and we discovered your tonal preference, your sound. So it's important that we work through the process.
I've had these for a couple weeks because I had to break them in. So you set them up and I was breaking them in, and right away I was, I don't know. I can't even explain. I haven't played it for anybody that didn't just get quiet.
Literally speechless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're trying to put it into words, but maybe you don't need to. Maybe that's enough.
That emotional reaction, goosebumps, tears. That's
music is so important to all of us, right? I think it's in our DNA. The earliest peoples were musicians and they made music, and it's so important to the human experience. People don't even realize that it can sound like this.
When you get the speaker right, you feel it. I don't think it's right, it feels right. So that to me is like when it locks in, you're like, okay, and this is feeling right. And if it doesn't feel right, then that's what music is.
Yeah, what's interesting about the word feel right is it's not sound right. So you think about speakers in the sense of sound.
Yeah.
You know, Neve kind of had this theory that there's frequencies that you feel, and it's more than just sound, right? There's a feeling. There's more dimensions there that you didn't know existed.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but that's how it feels.
Yeah, I think, the common phrase that's said is that humans can hear from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, and it's just not true. You can't hear all that, but you can feel it, you can detect it, you can perceive it, and that certainly, I think Neve was onto something when he said that. And when we're doing speaker setups or any setup, it's really kind of part art and part science. So part of it is literally like measurements, how far apart we're doing something, moving the tweeter closer or further back or up or down or anything like that.
Once the time alignment's set on a Wilson, starting with that parameter and moving it throughout the room, seeing how they actually interact with each other, how they interact in the room, how they carry, all those little things.
That's a scientific process, really. Yeah. But there's the art side of it where it's more feel.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing that is always interesting to me, and I think I amuse you guys sometimes by the songs that I use as reference. So what are like 3 songs that you use to reference and why? So what are those top 3 that if you really want to understand the system, what do you go to?
Well, the first thing for me is what particular album produced by Alison Krauss, Nickel Creek. I think it's a self-titled album, I believe. And there's 2 or 3 tracks in there, and the production's not perfect, but there are aspects about it that I'm looking for, and I'm familiar with it, that I actually like the music a lot, but I'm looking for things to happen within the vocal structure, the image, palatability and tonality of the instruments, colorations of the instruments, placement of the instruments, all those little things that I think that album got quite right. There's some errors with it, but I know that's one of the steps that we use.
That's where you start?
That's kind of one of my starting points. Again, it's like that
what we use today.
Yeah, we did use that today.
That is interesting because it has a lot of space.
Yeah.
And it has like a smack on the drums, and the guitar is, you know, very sparse but there.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's, as Brian said, it's not a perfect recording, but no recording is. But it's a great setup tool, and good music.
And then we'll use a really simple recording like an R.L. Burnside or
just guitar
Muddy
and vocals.
Waters, something of that nature. Just try and keep it as minimal as possible. Some of those basic recordings are very pure, and yes, there's some issues with them within itself, but that purity of that recording is very palatable. And then we played some Chabrier España, just gave massive range and scale, the instruments and the wall, because we can't like stuff a whole orchestra in this room, but if we have a perception that you're at the event, then we're onto something, that we have it right. So that's another one of the things. So we use a lot of different things.
A track I use a lot is Glass Animals' Black Mambo.
Oh, that's a great
because
one.
that it's so spacious, and if it's sounding a little concentrated, maybe, then we know we did something wrong. But there's a lot of space going on, great dynamics in that track, really a lot of texture in the vocals and guitar and some of the more synthesized instruments that they're using. That's a great track.
There's no, like I say, is no system, no matter what the price point is. It's not like, oh, this is, you know, oh, can't enjoy it. It's like, okay, it's a 5K audio element system, it's a 10K, you know, on and on and on. It's like, if you're connecting with it, then something's right. Placement, music, that's what we're about.
How much of that is being familiar with the song? Like for me, the songs that I use, I'm just very familiar with them.
Yeah.
Every time we make a change for the better, you're like, wait, I never heard that before. Or what's going on over there? Or someone's coughing in the back. It's like, not that you want to hear somebody coughing, but that whole, like, I never heard that before.
The discovery.
But when you hear that for the first time after listening to that track, probably hundreds of times, it's pretty special.
I just discovered my favorite tequila, but then I was able to taste you know, even deeper into it or something of that nature. It makes it fun. And that's what a large part of this is about, you know, is that discovery, and why, if we do an upgrade, what is it we're doing? We're not doing better laterally, it's about better for hearing deeper into the music, so which invokes the emotion.
One thing that I've noticed about this system is the stuff that I would have previously discounted as being digital. And, you know, it just didn't sound good. There's no reason to have it on vinyl. Like, for example, Bon Iver. There's no reason to have it on vinyl, really, because it's digital to then analog. It doesn't even really make sense. But there's something about this system, and especially through the Lina, but it does happen a little bit on vinyl also, that it's making that sound analog in a way. Where Bon Iver now all of a sudden sounds like he cares about hi-fi in the recording, which isn't something, he's not making vinyl for hi-fi.
Right.
What is it that Lina or this system is doing that's making it sound analog?
It's bringing you as close to the music as you can get. It's making it natural. It's taking some of the artificialness out of it.
But how is it doing that? What is that DCS doing? Why is it so different?
Its ability to convert, I mean, with the ring DAC that it's using, its ability to convert a digital signal into analog, and its process of how it does it.
But it really sounds analog.
Even tubes in solid state, same as they're trying to go into the same point. Is like tubes, they want more dynamic, solid state wants to be more analog. Same thing, like turntable, vinyl with digital. Like digital wants to be a bit more analog and natural. So how does DCS do it? It's their engineering, their science. You know, a lot of it, like they throw us through all the training, and we were very involved with DCS. But the total intricate ways of how they do it, you know, it's still a little bit of like, okay, how does this work? We're still learning that process too. I think they're still learning the process.
Been working at this technology for a long time.
Oh yeah.
It's very noticeable though, like how it can take something that's a little bit of a disappointment and kind of give it that analog magic.
Yeah. Well, it's not just analog, but just connective magic. I'd say that just speaks to.
They're just breathing a little more life into it.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts?
That thing I keep telling everybody, it's like for audio, if we just clerked you a box and never saw you again, that's a huge fail. Like this is not just a, oh, okay, bye. This is a relationship. You know, we've become good friends, and I appreciate that too more than anything. I'll take all this away, but the friendship I really appreciate. But the whole aspect of like, okay, this is what we're doing, and when providing, you know, the music that changes your life, that creates a heartbeat in your home, that's huge.
Oh yeah, it is like therapy.
Yeah.
Like you find yourself
100%.
watching way less TV. I read, you know, because I read a lot. I read a lot of books, and so for me, it is like therapy. Like, and then that magical element of, you know, you're feeling the music more than hearing it is pretty special.
Yeah. Goosebumps and tears.
Yeah.
I love it. Beautiful. Well, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chris.